The day started with so much promise. The sunlight streamed through our kitchen window, casting warm golden patterns on the walls. I could hear the faint sound of birds chirping outside, a gentle reminder that spring was in full bloom. Saturdays were sacred for our family, a day to unplug from work, school, and the demands of everyday life. This Saturday was special because we were visiting a new park, Evergreen Meadows. I had heard glowing reviews from one of Michael's co-workers. She had described it as a hidden gem with wide open spaces, a beautiful lake, and plenty of room for kids to run and play. It sounded perfect for our weekend tradition of family outings. While Michael brewed his coffee, I was busy in the kitchen packing our picnic bag. I wanted everything to be just right. Sandwiches, sliced fruit, juice boxes, and a big thermos of iced tea were tucked into the cooler. I also grabbed Ava's sketchbook, she loved drawing, and Jordan's soccer ball, knowing he'd want to challenge Michael to a game. The kids were already buzzing with excitement. Ava had found her favorite sun hut, and Jordan was juggling his soccer ball, bragging about how he would finally beat Michael in a match. "Mom, I'm gonna score on Dad today," he shouted confidently, his energy filling the house. Michael smiled as he loaded the color and picnic basket into the car. "Ready for a fun day?" he asked, his voice calm and reassuring. "Let's go," Ava and Jordan shouted in unison, practically bouncing into the car. As we pulled out of the driveway, I looked at Michael, feeling the warmth of his hand resting lightly on mine. "This is going to be a great day," I said. He nodded, and we both smiled. The drive itself was beautiful. The morning sun bathed everything in a golden glow, the trees lining the road like sentinels. Their branches stretched toward the sky, forming a canopy that dappled the pavement with patterns of light and shadow. I cracked my window slightly to let the cool spring breeze in, feeling the promise of the day ahead. From the backseat, Ava and Jordan were already bickering about what music to play. Ava wanted her pop playlist, and Jordan insisted on his superhero theme songs. "Mom, tell her she has terrible taste in music," Jordan whined, his arms crossed in exaggerated frustration. "I do not," Ava shot back, glaring at him. "Guys," Michael said firmly but with a hint of amusement, "no fighting today. We're on the same team." Ava huffed but gave in first, starting her playlist. Within seconds, she was singing along, her voice sweet and a little off-key. Jordan rolled his eyes at first but eventually joined in, deliberately singing louder and sillier to make Ava laugh. Michael shook his head, smiling at me. "They're exhausting," he said. "Completely," I replied, chuckling, "but you know we wouldn't trade it for anything." As we drove farther, the scenery became even more breathtaking. Tall oak trees framed the road, their fresh green leaves shimmering in the sunlight. Occasionally, we passed families walking hand in hand or cyclists pedaling leisurely along the roadside trail. Everything about the drive felt calm, normal, and right. Ava leaned forward, holding her stuffed bunny close. "Mom, do they have ducks at the park? I want to see the ducks." "Yes, sweetheart," I said, smiling at her in the rearview mirror. "There are ducks, and you can bring your sketchbook to draw them if you'd like." Her face lit up. "Can I feed them too?" "We'll see," I replied, laughing at her enthusiasm. Jordan, on the other hand, was focused on his upcoming soccer game. "Dad, you better get ready to lose," he said confidently. Michael raised an eyebrow. "Oh, is that so? You think you're faster than me now?" Jordan grinned. "I know I am." Their playful banter filled the car with laughter, and I couldn't help but smile. These moments were why we did this every weekend, to escape the noise of life and just be a family. As we turned onto the road leading to Evergreen Meadows, I felt a sense of anticipation building in my chest. The entrance was beautiful, a wooden arch with the park's name etched in elegant script. Beneath it, a winding road stretched through a grove of trees, offering glimpses of the sparkling lake beyond. "This is it," I said, pointing excitedly. "Wow," Ava whispered, pressing her face to the window. "It's so pretty." Jordan, ever energetic, was already bouncing in his seat. "Let's go, let's go, let's go." Michael slowed the car as we approached the gate. A small booth stood at the entrance, where an older man in a uniform waited to greet visitors. Or so I thought. "This is going to be a good day," I said to Michael, still smiling. He nodded, his hand resting lightly on the gearshift. In that moment, everything still felt perfect. We had no idea what was waiting for us just beyond that gate. Michael rolled down his window, greeting the man at the gate with a friendly smile. "Hi there, we're here for the day. How much is the entry fee?" The man didn't smile back. His eyes darted between Michael and me, then to Ava and Jordan in the backseat. Something in his expression changed. "This is a private park," he said flatly. Michael frowned slightly. "Private? The sign says it's open to the public." The man's gaze hardened. "It's private property," he repeated, his tone clipped and dismissive. I felt a small pang of unease. Something about the way he said it didn't sit right with me. Michael stayed calm, his voice firm but polite. "We didn't see anything about memberships online. Are you sure?" The man exhaled sharply, clearly annoyed. "I don't make the rules, sir, I just enforce them." Before Michael could respond, another car pulled up behind us, a white SUV with a couple about our age. The gatekeeper didn't hesitate. He waved them through with a warm smile. "Enjoy your day." I felt my stomach drop. The air in the car grew heavy. The weight of the moment hit me like a wave, sharp and undeniable. My mind raced as I replayed everything I had just seen and heard. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't about policies or rules. This was about us. Michael's jaw tightened, and I could see his knuckles turning white as he gripped the steering wheel. My chest tightened, my pulse quickening. From the backseat, Ava's small voice broke the silence. "Mommy, why don't they want us to go in?" Her question shattered me. I turned to her, forcing a smile I didn't feel. "It's not that, sweetheart," I said, my voice trembling. "Some people just don't know how to be fair." Jordan crossed his arms, his voice rising. "That's not fair. We didn't even do anything wrong." "No, baby," I said softly, "we didn't." I turned back to face the front, swallowing the lump in my throat. The gatekeeper stood there, his expression unchanging. Around us, other cars were beginning to pile up, their drivers craning their necks to see what was causing the delay. Michael leaned forward. "Is there a reason you're letting other people in but not us?" The man stiffened. "I already told you. It's private property." Michael's voice grew firmer. "So why are they allowed in?" The man didn't answer. I felt a lump form in my throat that I couldn't swallow away, no matter how hard I tried. My chest tightened as the weight of the moment bore down on me, pressing against every part of me. The kids were still chattering in the backseat, blissfully unaware of the silent storm brewing between Michael and me. I gripped the edge of my seat, trying to keep my composure, but it felt impossible. My mind raced with questions, each one more painful than the last. Why was this happening? Why here? Why now? But the hardest question, the one I couldn't ignore, was this: what do I tell my kids? Ava's voice cut through the silence again, small and hesitant. "Mommy, are we still going to see the ducks?" I couldn't answer right away. My heart broke for her innocence, for the hopefulness in her voice that I wasn't sure I could protect anymore. Then, a woman with a stroller stepped forward. She had already been let into the park but had turned back to watch us. "Excuse me," she called to the gatekeeper, her voice loud enough for everyone to hear. "Why aren't you letting them in?" The man turned to her, clearly annoyed. "Ma'am, this doesn't concern you." "It does concern me," she snapped. "You didn't ask for a membership when I came through. So why are you stopping them?" The murmurs began, voices growing louder, others pulling out their phones to record. At night, I lay awake replaying everything in my mind. The video of the encounter went viral, but our family's pain went deeper. It wasn't just about us. It was about every family like ours who had been treated like they didn't belong. Michael held my hand and said, "Sarah, this isn't just for us. It's for them. For our kids. For every person who's been told no because of who they are." We fought back. We connected with a civil rights lawyer and filed a lawsuit against the park for discrimination. The legal battle was long and exhausting, but it revealed shocking truths. Employees of the park came forward anonymously, admitting they had been instructed to screen visitors based on vague, unwritten criteria. The stories painted a clear picture of systemic discrimination that had been happening for years. As we pushed forward, the public support grew louder. Activists rallied outside the park gates. People shared their own stories of being turned away from similar spaces. Social media buzzed with hashtags like "Justice at Evergreen" and "Parks for All." But not everyone supported us. There were cruel messages too, ones accusing us of overreacting or stirring up trouble. I tried not to let them get to me, but some nights, the weight of it all felt unbearable. Still, we pressed on. For Ava. For Jordan. For everyone. The day of the trial was one of the most nerve-wracking of my life. I remember sitting in the courtroom, clutching Michael's hand so tightly that my fingers ached. Ava and Jordan weren't with us. They were too young to understand the magnitude of what was happening, but their absence only made me more determined. Our lawyer, Rachel, was brilliant. She presented the evidence with precision, playing the video of the encounter for the courtroom to see. It was impossible to deny what had happened. Michael and I took the stand to testify. I spoke about Ava's question, why don't they want us to go in, and how it had broken something inside me. Michael described the humiliation of being turned away in front of his children, of feeling powerless to protect them from a world that judged them unfairly. By the time we finished, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. Even the judge looked visibly moved. The verdict was in our favor. The court found the park guilty of racial discrimination and ordered them to pay damages. They were also required to implement anti-discrimination training and revise their policies to ensure inclusivity. Months later, we returned to Evergreen Meadows. The park management had changed, and they invited us back as guests, promising we would be welcomed with open arms. At first, I hesitated. Did I really want to go back to the place where we had been humiliated? But Michael convinced me. We have to show Ava and Jordan that we belong everywhere, he said. As we walked through the gates, I felt a mix of emotions, relief, pride, and lingering sadness. Ava and Jordan ran ahead, laughing and chasing each other across the grass. Watching them, I knew the fight had been worth it. Looking back, that day changed us forever. It taught us the power of standing up, of speaking out, and of fighting for what's right, even when it's hard. This isn't just our story. It's a reminder that change is possible when we refuse to stay silent. If you're reading this, remember, your voice matters. Stand up for what's right, and never let anyone make you feel like you don't belong. This story isn't just ours, it's a reminder that change is possible when we refuse to stay silent. Thank you for listening to our story on Story Haven. If this moved you, share it. Together, we can make a difference.